Hey, Talking Cars fans, we really love making Talking Cars each week, but we want to make sure you enjoy it as much as we do. That's why we've created a survey to find out what you like best about the show, what you want more of, and what we can improve on. Go to cr.org/TalkingCarsSurvey and let us know how we can make the podcast better. We really want to be your favorite automotive podcast, and your responses can help make that happen. Thank you for your help, and enjoy the show.
We share our first impressions of the all-new Mercedes-Benz GLB SUV, and then we answer your questions about what to do if you don't like your run-flat tires and how to fit 3 child seats in one car. Next on Talking Cars. Hey, welcome back. I'm Keith Barry.
I'm Ryan Pizlakowski.
I'm Emily Thomas.
And we're going to get right into it today. We bought, for our testing program, the new Mercedes-Benz GLB. It's an all-new model. It's an SUV.
Sure.
Yeah, and we're ahead of our full test regimen. We have to put some break-in miles on it, and that's also when we kind of collect our first impressions on it. So we're going to talk about that here today. So first of all, the GLB. So Mercedes has this sort of new naming convention where the A class, the B class, the C class, the E class, and the S class now all get GL versions. So it's like this is like the SUV version of
the sedans, yeah,
of the sedan. So what is this? There's already a GLC. There is a GLA. What is this?
Yeah, so it's another slice of the pie. It seems like every manufacturer is making more and more small SUVs, and to me there's like this overlap. You know, this thing wasn't that cheap, but it's close to this GLC, which is a little bit above it.
We paid what, $47,000 for ours,
right? So to me it's a little frustrating because it's just like an overlap. Like I'm not maybe frustrating, but I don't understand it. Like they're almost like stepping on their own toes with all these. But I guess there's a market for it. I mean, people are buying them. I guess initially when I got in, went to drive it. I drove it this weekend. I put like 500 miles on it actually, and I wasn't that excited because usually those smaller SUVs, when they try to make this in-between size, it like doesn't ride as nice as the one that's just a little bigger than it. And it's got all these little quirks about it. But this actually surprised me. It's a little firm riding, I thought, but it's comfortable. It's got plenty of power. I think I'd still like a GLC more though.
Yeah. Now this is kind of, it shares a lot of component. Mercedes is kind of like, it feels like GM in the 80s where like every car was just a version of the Cutlass Sierra. They're sharing a lot of components in their cars. And you spent a lot of time in this car and in a couple of the other Mercedes. So it's kind of the same, thing, right?
Yeah. So in the past couple of weeks, I've driven a few of our Mercedes. So I didn't find the controls to be as difficult as previously, because I think I've had now like a little bit more exposure, right? So like it started slowly getting indoctrinated into my brain as to how they work.
Yeah. It's got that giant screen.
Right.
It's just as a reminder, it's got the shifter on the column, and it's got the touchpad, the touchpads, and the touch screen.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a touch screen, there's a touchpad that's like where your gear shifter normally would be essentially, right? And then you've got all the different stocks that do like your gear shifting and the windshield and everything like that. And then all of your, seat controls are on the door.
Which is a very Mercedes thing.
Right.
Very Mercedes thing, which now, again, I'm a little bit more used to. Even though I got a little bit more accustomed to it, so I knew where to look for things now, it still didn't really make it easier to maneuver like while I was driving. Like if I needed to adjust a setting, it's still a little bit cumbersome. Like that touchpad is still really sensitive, and like I had to like just right. But like if you're trying to do it just right on the touchpad and make sure you're getting to the right thing on the screen, your eyes aren't really on the road,
right?
And I thought it was kind of funny that, I had the CLA last night, and in the beginning, like when I turned it on this morning, it immediately tells me, it's like, warning, please do not let the system distract you while you are driving. And I'm like,
it's kind of hard not to.
Doesn't really do that, does it now? It distracts me a lot because I have to like be very in tune to what it is I want to accomplish on the screen, as opposed to like some of the other systems where like, you can do it by feel or it's hard buttons or whatever, right?
Yeah, some of the simple things, like just changing a radio station. Like if you put your hand on that pad and it moves it moves you on the screen up to something that's not the radio. Then you swipe over. I'm watching the road and I swipe over, but now I changed the whole. I'm not even on the radio anymore. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like that stuff's irritating to me because it's the radio station. You should be able to change that pretty easily. But it is like you said. I mean, it's like the CLA is the same thing, literally, or even the A class is very similar. Like you go from one car to the other, they're like the same things. But it does it's not really easier. It's just you're getting a little bit accustomed to it.
Right.
I mean,
you're learning it now.
Yeah,
so.
I spent 3 days in it, and it was like on the way home, I finally had a little bit of confidence with a few things, but I was still screwing up. It's still distracting, I think.
Well, the interesting thing though is that this is sort of it's a car that you can. I think it's a car that you can grow into. So this might be for like the couple that had a GLA and now they have a kid and a dog and they want a GLB.
I would
maybe
go right to a GLC though. That's where I'm stuck.
It would depend on how much your family is growing because it's still not a super like spacious rear seat. I mean, putting car seats back there, right? Like it was still a little tight. Like you could have a front passenger in front of like a rear facing car seat, but it would be kind of tight even for like, an average size driver. And then, I mean, when I was doing fits and I had to like, I'm the dork that has to read the owner's manual while I do my testing, right? And in there, it was like, oh, if you want to do installations in the third row. And I was like,
I still don't
where
believe that.
where is the third row in this car?
So to clarify, there is a version of this car that has a third row. This is a car that's 1.7 inches shorter than the GLC. So this means it's the second most compact SUV.
When you look in the manual and it shows you like how that third row would fold up, like it is right up against that second row. So I don't see like how comfortable or really even like how practical is it to get that car with a third row?
And the second row does slide.
It does.
But this is maybe the one thing that really stuck out to me. I sat in the back seat. That seat, the second row seat is terrible.
Yeah, it's narrow.
It's literally flat. Like there's, I should take a level, it's literally flat. And when a seat is close to flat, it feels like you're actually falling out of it because most seats are actually tipped back, so you're kind of sitting in it, right?
Right.
This thing, because it's flat, it gives you the illusion like you're actually falling out of it. Like it's flat, and it's hard. And it's just for a car that actually has a decent amount of room in there, like that's terrible.
So something I noticed is that in order to create that access for the rear row, the seats kind of taper in on where the bolster is. So when you sit down in that lower seat cushion, like my leg kind of falls off it. I'm a little wider than you, and I found that I didn't fit in the back seat. It felt like I was not only falling off the front but falling off the side too. But I mean, I've seen the 7-seater versions of this are a little hard to come by in the US, but I looked at some reviews from like the UK, Australia, and places where people have driven it, and they've said that it's okay for kids in a pinch. But I mean, it's a very boxy vehicle. I mean, it looks almost like if you remember like the Mazda MPV, like it looks like it looks almost it looks van inspired.
Like, so I thought the visibility was actually pretty good in the car, right?
Yeah, it is.
But I was kind of surprised at how like high the hood came up because it comes up and it just goes straight across, which like I wasn't really anticipating for, I guess I expected it to be a little bit more stylish and slope down a little bit more, kind of like how some of the other smaller, or luxury type SUVs
It reminded me, remember the GLK?
Oh, the old,
like the mini G-Wagon looking thing.
Yeah.
This has that little more boxy kind of look, but it helps with visibility tremendously.
Yeah.
Windows are bigger panels, and
I loved the look of that GLK.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
So something it's interesting. I kind of touched on this earlier. Is that Mercedes is making different cars with the same parts basically, and they're doing a real good job at that.
Yeah, I think so.
This shares the same 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine as the CLA, the 221 horsepower version, as opposed to the slightly less powerful version that's in the A class. But it gets an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, not the 7-speed. What do we? I mean, you've spent a ton of time driving both of these cars. What do you think?
So I was pleasantly surprised with the power it has. I mean, I had a passenger and a full load of snowbird gear and stuff, and buzzed right up the hills in Vermont like nothing. I was impressed with the power. It doesn't need more power. The transmission for a dual clutch is, in the history of dual clutches, they used, sometimes they're a little stiff on shifts and a little jumpy at low speeds. This still has some of those things, but I thought it was quite nice. I like the decisiveness of the shifts. Is very got that little bit sportier of a shift. It's not as want to say smooth. It's not as mushy when it shifts. You know, it's more like boom, we're in the next gear, but it's decisive. I like that. But I think they did a pretty good job with it without it being, you know, they took out some of the negatives that dual clutches used to have, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I thought the steering was really good too. I mean, like I took it for a little bit yesterday on like kind of my old commute back down to Middletown almost, and you know, the roads are really windy, and you know, it's like country roads basically. So I thought it was pretty responsive. It handled really well. I did feel like when the roads got a little bit rougher, I did feel that a little bit more in the ride. But overall, I thought, you know, if this is the, you know, size vehicle, this in-between class kind of vehicle that you want,
right,
and you wanted a vehicle that does drive well and like you enjoy that, like I think that, you know, this could serve your needs in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drove it. Interestingly, I drove it back and back to back with the Lincoln Corsair, which is about the same price, and it's kind of aimed at the same sort of consumer. And the thing that definitely the slightly more sporty feel to it, the quicker steering, the slightly stiffer suspension, that definitely showed through. The Corsair is a little more laid back and relaxed, which might be what some people want. But the other thing that really got to me was the visibility, and we mentioned that too. That it's nice and upright. But they're both around $47,000. This is not cheap, and the EPA says that it gets about 26 miles a gallon combined. But we're going to test that.
We'll be the judge.
To the test. We'll be the judge, exactly. And until our full test is up, which will be available at cr.org, we do have a first drive available you can read. And you can, if you're a member, you can see that, see some more photos of the car, and read our first impressions of a brand new Mercedes GLB. So moving on, we're going to turn it over to you. Our questions, keep them coming. Send them to talkingcars@icloud.com. No video questions this week. So if you're watching the show, you have to watch us. But if you want to see you, send us a video question. We love them. Our first question is from Edward from Richmond, Virginia, who has a 2019 BMW X3. And he says, as it turns out, my local dealer only has cars with run-flat tires. I had the dealer add a jack and a spare at purchase, which is a story in itself. When I replace these tires, I'd like to avoid run-flats as I prefer a normal tire. Is there anything I should be aware of when making this change? So, tires. I think that's a question for you.
I was like, don't come to me.
So, BMW run flats go hand in hand. I mean, it's very...
Yeah, this isn't just his local dealer.
No, and
that's what Gene said.
Almost all BMWs have run flats on them, right? Historically, run flats, there's less options when you want to replace. Run flats are inherently a stiffer tire because the sidewall has to be thicker and stiffer to hold the weight of the vehicle when there's no air in the tire, right? That's the whole idea behind a run flat. You can drive home at a limited mile per hour, depending on that vehicle and that tire, for a limited distance, just to get you home. So you're not changing a tire on the side of the road, and then you take care of it.
Some people don't like them,
right? Yeah. It's become common where people want to get rid of them because when it comes time to replace them, they can be expensive and limited choices. They have come a little ways. There's more choices now than there used to be. They're not as stiff as they used to be.
You go to like BMW forums, and they'll have like. My run flats are stiff, but sometimes it's from 2016, 2015. Yeah.
A few things. Because the tires are inherently stiffer, the vehicles are tuned somewhat for that. So you do replace these with a traditional tire, regular non-run flat tire. The vehicle could handle a little differently. And I'm not saying it would be better or worse, but it could be different. So something you just pay attention to, get used to. He also says that he got a jack, a spare tire, and a jack hit from the dealer. Now, if this is a factory item, I would hope that they have a good way of storing these. So some of these vehicles, because they have run flats, they actually don't have that wheel well underneath or in your trunk to put these things. Now, a spare tire and a jack floating around in your trunk or in an SUV like this, where it's open to the cabin, could become a projectile if it's not properly stored. Yeah. So that's a concern I have, is make sure that thing is stored, safely somehow in there, whether it's in that wheel well or if there is the wheel well, or they have other ways of securing that. But other than that, it could handle a little differently, but it's not it's just something you have to get used to.
Yeah. I have a run flat story.
Do you?
Can I tell it?
Yes.
Okay. So I was driving a BMW 2 Series during a horrible snowstorm in the Boston area. Oh, I loved it. It was amazing.
Fantastic.
Unfortunately, I returned it. This was a loaned vehicle from BMW when I was working for another publication. Yeah. And I returned it with some damage, but in the form of 2 very expensive run flat tires. I was driving along. I was right behind a plow. A plow plowed up an expansion joint, and there was no way to avoid it.
Yep.
And bam, I slowed down as much as I could, but I blew 2 tires. And I was on an off-ramp, a long off-ramp. If you know, from Boston, the Leverett connector, there's nowhere to pull over. And if you get stuck there, you are going to make a lot of people very angry. And I was able to safely, just keep going. Yeah. And it changed my opinion on run flat tires.
They do work well.
Yeah, it totally changed my opinion on them. And so, Edward, don't get run down by run flats. You're maybe you'll be happier with them than you think.
We'll find out.
All right. The next question is from Sylvain from Canada, who says, I currently own a 2017 Subaru WRX, which I love for its winter capabilities, small footprint, and performance. Doing a lot of my driving in Montreal, shout out to Keith Barry, thank you. I am looking to buy a coupe or sedan with a more compliant ride and luxurious interior, but that can handle the snow, ice, traffic, and potholes of city driving. So we're going to go across the table. What do you think?
So I recommend the Genesis G70.
Ooh.
So I loved that car. It comes with all-wheel drive. It has a really nice interior. I feel like Genesis is sort of like the unsung hero of luxury vehicles in that people don't usually think about it, or they're just like, oh, it's just a Genesis, or, it's not what people think of necessarily when they think about like having a luxurious interior or, that level of comfort. But they're great cars. Like the interiors are really, really nice. They ride well. They're super comfortable. I also love the fact that it comes with all of this standard safety equipment. It comes with AEB with pedestrian detection. It has the forward collision warning, the blind spot warning. And, to me, it's a great car. The one we had here, I absolutely loved. I love even just like how stylish it looks on the outside. And normally I don't notice that stuff as much, but I really, really liked how it looked. Yeah. On the other hand, I will tell you, my husband commutes into Hartford and he has an A3 and he loves that. So if the Genesis is not for you, that's also an option.
That's my pick. You stole my pick. Well, your husband stole my pick, really. But yeah, no, the A3. But the good news is that either way, I looked up some A3 deals in Quebec, and there's some really good lease deals on an A3. Also, if you're thinking about buying maybe a certified pre-owned car, you can save a ton of money on a Genesis, because all those sort of those intangibles, it's a brand that I don't know about that much. Oh, it's made by Hyundai. Oh, there isn't. Those can sometimes translate into a slightly lower resale value. So you might be able to get an incredible deal on a G70 that's been returned off of a lease.
Do it.
Yeah, exactly. So that or an A3, I think are no-brainers for both. What do you think?
So the A3 is too small for me.
Yeah,
I would say A4.
Okay,
but even before that, this is a little unlike me, because forgive me, I think it's a little bit boring. Is a Subaru Legacy, a loaded Legacy. Get the leather seats. I don't know if that's maybe not fancy or not as upscale enough or luxurious. He uses the word luxurious.
Well, compared to a 2017 WRX.
I think that's what I'm going back to. But now here's a car that's it's a little bigger. It's not as sporty. But you're coming from a WRX, so most things are probably not going to be that sporty, right? But it's got the same fantastic all-wheel drive system. It's a Subaru. He already has a Subaru. Maybe he has a relationship with the dealer already somewhere there. I don't know.
And it's it does the compliant ride. It really does.
It's a great,
we say it's one of the best sedans that we've driven.
It's a great car.
That was like my backup option.
Great. So we're in agreement. There are 3 great cars for you. Anyone who lives does a lot of winter driving and wants something a little bit nicer, there are some picks for you, whether you're here or north of the border. Finally, question 3 from Henry, who currently drives a 2015 Honda Accord. He chose it because of its ability to accommodate the 3 car seats necessary for hauling my family around. Utility-wise, however, it's not up to snuff for the amount of cargo area we need. Have you tested any crossovers that could fit our 3 car seats? I wonder who's going to answer this one.
Obviously, Ryan. So my first piece of advice is going to be kind of redundant to things I've said before, which is take your car seats with you to the dealership, because truly that's the best way for you to know whether or not any vehicle that we've tested or anyone else has tested is going to fit your car seats, because every set of 3 car seats is going to be a different configuration. And so, you know, we test one particular configuration in the test vehicles here. We put a forward-facing convertible car seat and a booster car seat in the 2 outboard seats, and then we put a rear-facing infant seat in the middle. And I will say that if you have to, you know, do 3 across, trying to switch up your orientation, like alternate, right, does kind of help because, you know, you don't have them like butting up against each other. And also, you know, sometimes like keeping your kid in that harness a little bit longer will be helpful, because now you don't have to access a buckle with a booster, right? The seats are just installed. All the harnesses are accessible from the front. It's a little bit easier in that regard. So take your car seats to the dealership. I've done that before. The salesperson's been like, you want to do what? You want to install that right now? I'm like, yes, I do.
Well, if they're going to take 3 hours of your time making you wait for someone to try and sell you undercoating, you might as well take some of theirs.
Take them with you. But that being said, you know, I did look into the vehicles that we've tested, and any crossover pretty much is going to give you more cargo space, right? Any SUV is going to give you more cargo space than that Honda Accord. But there are a few vehicles that, you know, we have looked at that I think would be good for Henry to try out. So
I'm looking over your shoulder. These are all real good. Yeah.
So I've got the Kia Telluride and the Sorento, both cars that I love.
Telluride's fantastic. Yeah.
And you'll get lots of cargo space in that Telluride, right? Even the Sorento, though, if you put that third row down, if you're not trying to put anybody into the third row, you'll get plenty of space back there. Hyundai Palisade, the Toyota Highlander, we currently have that in test. So we haven't completed our ratings on the newest model that came out, but I did quickly throw my 3 seats back there to make sure that I could do it for our configuration. And also something like the Subaru Outback. And the other thing that I really like about these options is, you know, they all come with standard advanced safety features, which when you have a family with all this precious cargo that you're going to be driving around, it's going to be really important for you to have those things.
Why not?
You want to make sure that they're safe. So those would be my tips. Take this little list, check out those specific cars, but try your car seats out in them specifically.
Right.
Yeah, great advice.
Very good, yeah.
I like the Outback personally.
Yeah, Outback's a great car. Yeah.
It wouldn't be too much of a stretch from going from the Accord to the Outback size-wise.
Yeah.
It would feel more familiar.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, cool.
That's true.
Well, thanks for those great picks and great advice. If you have a question, send it to talkingcars@icloud.com. If you have a question waiting for us, we're getting to it. Maybe we'll do another All Questions episode. And if you're from Canada, hello. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and we'll talk cars again next time.